What not to do at your immigration interview. Hi, I'm immigration attorney Zeitoun-Sedki, and today I chose to speak to you about some tips about what not to do at your immigration interview. Now, this can include a marriage interview or an interview for citizenship and naturalization, or if you're scheduled for an interview at a U.S. embassy abroad. These tips will help you get your case approved as quickly as possible. So let's start with the first tip. You should always be prepared for your interview. When you get your interview notice, on that notice, there's a list of documents that you should be bringing with you to your interview. Very important that you actually go through that list as a checkoff and make sure that you have all of these items when you go. Failing to bring those documents with you can cause a significant delay in your case. It can even allow an officer to discontinue the interview and tell you to come back and reschedule it for another day. You don't want this happening, as this can cause a significant delay in the processing of your case. And it certainly can get your case denied if you don't have the proper documentation. But what are those kind of documentations that you should bring? Some things that you need to have on that day are your original documents. These are required documents that you must present to the interviewing officer, such as your passport, your green card, your marriage and birth certificates, and any other documents they have listed there that you must bring with you. So make sure that you are bringing your original documents with you, even though you have submitted a copy with your initial filing. So make sure those are there. If you're going for a marriage interview, you may need to bring additional joint documents. We've discussed in previous videos about the need to bring joint documents to prove a good faith marriage. So make sure that if you're going to add any more documents to your case to prove to the officer your good faith marriage, you want to make sure that you have those joint documents with you. Tip number 2. Don't be sloppy. Make sure that you are treating this interview as a job interview. Go dressed professionally. You don't have to be overly dressed, but make sure that you are presenting yourself in a nice, clean, and professional way, as this does affect the officer's perception of you, and it could actually help you get an approval on your case. Number 3, don't guess answers. Many times I have clients come to me after they've attended an interview, and oftentimes I hear that sometimes they don't speak English very well, and they don't really hear the question before they answer it. And my number one advice to them is you should never guess an answer. If you have trouble understanding what the officer is asking you, you can politely ask the officer to repeat the question to you so you fully understand what is being asked of you before you answer. Guessing an answer can often be the wrong answer, and it can often confuse the officer or actually raise some certain concerns that they might have to ask follow-up questions about that question. So you really do want to make sure that you fully understand before you answer. The next tip I would say is don't lie. A lot of times I've had cases come to my office after a denial because of misrepresentations that the client has made to the officer. They've lied, they've submitted false documentation. This could probably be the worst thing that you can do during an interview. If you lie to an immigration officer, not only will it result in your case being denied, but can also prevent you from ever getting any kind of immigration benefit in the future, especially if your case is denied on a fraud or misrepresentation charge. So you want to be very sure that you don't lie to an officer. And following up on the point before, if you don't know the answer to something, it's better to say that I don't know, rather than just giving any answer. So, and my last tip is, a lot of clients tend to want to know when a decision is going to be made. So they press the immigration officer to give them a deadline or a date as to when their case is going to be approved. And a lot of times officers don't like that. Please keep in mind that when you're going to a USCIS interview, this is their kind of, this is their sphere. This is where, they do their work, and they have full control over that interview, including making a decision on a case. And many cases require not just a review by the interviewing officer, but sometimes it needs to be reviewed by a supervisor. So the officer can't tell you when exactly a decision will be made, as it has to go through that process that they have in the office. So if you want to politely ask them a range of time, an approximate time on when a decision can be made, you can do that, but don't press the officer for a particular time on a decision. And the last is, in the course of an interview, try not to interrupt an officer. As I said earlier, the officer will conduct the interview the way they see fit. Each officer has their own style. Some of them talk more, some of them allow you to talk more. So you really want to give that officer kind of his space to ask the questions that they need. Don't interrupt. Wait for the officer to complete the question before you answer. If you follow these tips, you should have a successful interview and hopefully an approval on your case. So I'll encourage you to share this video with your family and friends. Subscribe to the YouTube channel for more videos on helpful tips in immigration law and policy. And, find me on social media. And I'll see you next time.